A welcome to the show. They're studying us so that they can become us.
A man sprints through a pitch-black forest in Ireland, terror etched across his face. He stumbles upon signs screaming, "Point of no return," and arrows pointing him towards an unknown destination. But escape is futile. Shadows swallow him, birds screech overhead, and he tumbles into a pit. Out of nowhere, an invisible force seizes him, dragging him into the abyss. Across the country, Mina, an artist working at a pet store, receives an odd task from her boss: deliver a rare parrot to a zoo in a nearby city. She agrees and takes the bird home for the night. As she confides in the parrot about her mother's death 15 years ago, the bird unexpectedly talks back. That evening, Mina dons a wig, heads to a bar, and masquerades as a ballerina, spinning tales to a stranger. The next morning, she apologizes to the parrot, fearing her true self is unlovable. Nevertheless, she sets off on her mission with the bird. On the road, Mina's sister Lucy calls, reminding her of the family waiting for her. Ignoring the call, Mina drives into an ancient, foreboding forest. Her car suddenly sputters and dies, her phone signal vanishing with it. Determined to find help, Mina ventures into the dark woods, birdcage in hand. Returning to the road, she finds her car mysteriously gone. As darkness thickens, she chats with the bird, naming it Darwin, trying to stave off panic. A woman darts past and Mina gives chase. The pursuit leads to a small cabin. The woman flings the door open, urging Mina inside if she wants to survive. Mina bolts in, meeting Malene, an elderly woman living with two young companions, Carrara and Daniel. Malene demands Mina stand before a mirror, explaining that the Watchers can't enter but can observe. As Mina stands, she hears a chilling sound: applause. Malene confirms her worst fears. The Watchers are celebrating their new captive. The forest holds its breath. What dark fate awaits them? Mina declares she's leaving, but everyone insists it's impossible. Determined, she heads into the forest. Malene catches her, warning that the forest induces hallucinations, but survival is possible. Signs in the forest mark a safe boundary to return to the cabin before dark. Beyond it, there's no return. These signs were placed by a man known as the Professor, whose current whereabouts are unknown. That night, Daniel introduces Mina to the Watchers, who demand she behave normally. Meanwhile, Ciara cranks up the music and dances, as she does every night. Mina discovers discs of Love Search TV shows and spends the morning with Ciara gathering medicinal herbs. Ciara reveals her husband asked her to look after Daniel before he vanished, trying to find a way out. She believes they've been in the cabin for nearly 5 months and mentions strange burrows in the forest where the Watchers go during the day. Malene lays down the safety rules. Never leave at night, never open the doors for anyone, always stay in the light. Days blur together, each eerily identical. Mina obsesses over the TV shows and stares into the mirror. One day she knocks on the mirror and hears a knock on the door. Malene commands everyone to freeze. The next day, Mina and Daniel go hunting. Daniel reveals Malene was a university professor and has lived in the cabin the longest. He's been there for 8 months, but has never seen anyone else. Mina persuades Daniel to help her explore a burrow using a rope. Inside, she finds old items: newspapers, toys, electronics, and a bicycle. Strange noises from the darkness scare her, and the rope drops at her feet. She escapes and they examine the items. With the bicycle, escape seems possible, but Malene reacts strangely. Daniel rigs a surveillance system from the electronics and sets up a camera by the door. That night, everything seems normal. Ciara dances when there's a knock on the door. Daniel thinks it's a person. Malene forbids opening it, but they hear Ciara's husband's voice. Ciara tests him by asking about a book they bought together, but he can't answer. The man pleads for help. Ciara asks him to look into the camera, but something drags him into the forest. Immediately, there's a furious knock on the mirror. Malene shields everyone, and the knocking stops. In this chilling, claustrophobic world, survival depends on obeying the rules and the flickering hope of escape. The forest outside is alive with danger, and within the cabin, the Watcher's presence looms large. As the days stretch into an eternity of fear, Mina's determination might be the key to unraveling the mystery, or it could lead them all to doom. Malene hurls the bicycle into the burrow, angrily declaring that they must stop breaking the rules. Later, Mina reflects on a tragic day. Her mother and sister invited her for a car ride. The weather was perfect, and Mina opened the window. Her mother told her to close it due to the wind, but Mina, mimicking her mother, ignored her. The distraction led to a devastating accident for which Mina still feels responsible. Winter sets in, bringing shorter days, colder nights, and scarce food. Tensions rise among the cabin's residents. One day, Ciara ventures into the forest. Mina catches up to her, and Ciara confides that she believes John is real. As they head back, they hear Daniel's angry shouts. Malene and Mina refuse to let him and Carrara inside. The women hide under a tree, watching in horror as gangly, spider-like monsters creep from the forest, emitting terrible shrieks. These watchers glare at Daniel and Carrara while Mina and Malene wait in terror, hoping the creatures will leave. When the coast is clear, they rush back and beg to be let in. Daniel initially refuses until Mina shares her guilt over her mother's death, pleading for his understanding. Reluctantly, he opens the door. Inside, they stand before a mirror, trying to convince the watchers they belong there. Malene confesses her past as a history and mythology teacher and reveals she came to this place voluntarily, only to realize its true danger. She once saw a doppelganger of herself at sunset. The Watchers, ancient beings known as changelings, fairies, or winged ones, study humans to impersonate them and never let their subjects leave. A knock and familiar voices echo outside. In their panic, Daniel discovers a hidden hatch in the floor. They descend to find a well-stocked bunker with food and equipment. Mina activates an old computer, revealing a video from Professor Rory Kilmartin. The professor, the first to study the Watchers, discovered this place in 1979 and named it Wonderland. Every evening, the Watchers observed him from his window. His colleagues had mocked him, but he persisted, building the bunker with labor from remote villagers who wouldn't be missed. Each night, he lured these men outside, watching the Watchers dispose of them. This bunker was built on their blood. One day, a unique Watcher, a red-haired girl, appeared. Unlike the others, she seemed curious and harmless. The professor, hoping to unlock the secrets of the fairies, managed to trap her and began experiments, attempting to befriend her. She shifted forms, sometimes becoming a monstrous creature with long arms, but she seemed to listen. Over time, she grew familiar to him, yet the professor realized his efforts were in vain. Preparing to end his life, he revealed a hidden boat by the river as the only escape route. Just follow the birds. He asked whoever found his message to destroy all related documents at his university. He resolved to remain with the Watcher girl forever. With this revelation, the group is left in shock. The Watchers are no mere legend, but a real, inescapable threat. The haunting memories, the scarcity of food, and the encroaching winter pale in comparison to the danger lurking outside their door. As the terror mounts, they face an uncertain future, knowing that any wrong move could draw the attention of the relentless Watchers. In their last recording, Kilmartin is seen scaling the heights, gunshots ringing out, followed by an eerie silence. Ciara, aware it's their final night in the forest, turns on the music and asks Daniel to dance. He hesitates, revealing his broken family and the lack of a home to return to. Ciara offers him a temporary home with her until he finds his footing, solidifying their growing bond. Morning breaks and the group sets out to escape. Guided by Mina's parrot, they soon discover a colossal stone disc hiding the entrance to an ancient tunnel. Malene reveals this is where the last of the ancient fairy race, once friends with humans but now enemies, are imprisoned by magic. The fairies, filled with centuries of hatred, must be avoided at all costs. They walk relentlessly, but dusk falls with no river or boat in sight, rain pouring down, and despair setting in. Suddenly, they spot flocks of birds flying in one direction and decide to follow. They finally reach the river, the women racing towards the boat. Daniel hears screams and spots John, seemingly alive. He rushes to help, only to discover John is a changeling. The women scream for Daniel to run, but he can't hear them. The changeling, the Watcher, kills Daniel and takes his form. As Malene, Mina, and Ciara sail down the river, they finally wake up to find themselves back in civilization. They stop a bus, ride to the city, and listen to music, the realization hitting them that their harrowing ordeal is finally over. Mina infiltrates the university where Kilmartin worked, masquerading as his niece to gain access to his office and complete his final mission. Inside, she discovers a treasure trove of documents, photos, and a chilling recording. Kill Martin speaks of fairies and hints that half-blood children still walk among us. As Mina flips through a stack of photos, her eyes widen with shock. That evening, Mina rushes to Ciara's house. She reveals a photo of Malene from Kill Martin's collection, explaining it's his late wife. The Malene they knew in the cabin was no ordinary woman. She was a special fairy, capable of moving in daylight, the one Kill Martin couldn't bring himself to kill. This fairy took Mina's form to blend back into civilization. Just then a car pulls up, and the real Ciara steps out. The woman Mina has been talking to is a fairy imposter. Realizing she's been discovered, the fairy knocks Mina out and morphs into Daniel. The fairies, driven underground by human hatred, just want to live freely. The fairy, now in Kill Martin's form, approaches the unconscious Mina. Back inside, it changes back to Mina's form, preparing to end her life. But Mina wakes and pleads for understanding, admitting the injustice of banishing fairies. Her words reach the fairy's heart. It softens, spreads its wings, and with a hint of belief in Mina's sincerity, flies away. Mina revives the real Ciara. Later, she finds solace in reuniting with her twin sister Lucy, finally forgiving herself for their mother's death. She confides in Lucy, revealing she still sees Malene's face in others. Her niece arrives, holding a drawing of Mina and her pet, Darwin. Outside, a red-haired girl gazes at their window, morphing into a strange-faced figure. This isn't your typical horror movie. It's a spine-tingling bedtime tale for the child who craves a touch of fright. The tension builds masterfully, and while the ending might seem mundane, it leaves a lingering mystery that chills to the bone. If you like this video and want to watch our recap of the TV miniseries Extinct, then click on the screen now and prepare to be blown away.